having suffered through the discovery that I had a brain tumor, small, from a physical assault on me 25 years before, and having created an undiagnosed bleeder in the brain, I can tell you mitochondria was extremely important in my recovery. It was initially diagnosed when, in 2009, I collapsed, being unable to stand, unable to see out of my left eye, unable to put together words in a sentence, unable to make any kind of a statement that made any sense. So it was diagnosed initially as transitory ischemic attacks, traumatic brain injury, or they didn't think it was that. They just really thought I had a stroke. But TBIs are mini strokes, and they're supposed to go away in a short period of time. I did not. It lingered on for 2 months, and finally I got my vision back in my left eye. Finally, somebody realized that I, in fact, had a brain tumor. And it was not something that was operable. It was not something that was going to kill me. It was something that had changed radically because of my age at 59 at the time. Evidently, my hormones had changed enough as my age advanced a little bit that all of a sudden I reached a tipping point to where I literally could not stand. I could not function. And I was told that if it did not improve, I would be in a nursing home. And I had the vision of sitting in a nursing home drooling in the corner, being locked in my brain because I couldn't communicate. People didn't understand what I'm saying. I knew what I was saying, but it didn't come out that way. So I was given all this intense medication I was supposed to take, which would take care of the symptoms. Well, I was already in research in this field of mitochondrial research, and I thought, wonder what is going on in the brain. I wonder if I could stimulate the mitochondria in the neurons of the brain and see if I could get the brain to heal itself. So I took none of the medications that were prescribed to me. None. Because most of them said I could get a brain tumor. Oh, and I put a comment to my wife, now I can have two. Oh, and I can get heart failure. And I'm supposed to call my doctor. Give me a cell phone for my coughing. Come on, where does this stuff come from? I mean, who writes this, gosh, you're going to die, but call us anyway, material? So I just turned my back on that, went home, started taking my mitochondrial supplementation and a little bit beyond excess, and exercise and minerals and probiotics. And within 6 months, I was back. And so I suffered no real problems after that. Since then, I've written 7 books. I have been a radio correspondent, network radio correspondent. I have completed the study for a naturopathic doctor, 3 years of study, and really pushed hard to improve the research I was doing into anti-aging and mitochondrial research. So as far as it affecting me and my capabilities, in the long term, it did not. But it allowed me to also prove that there is something to the fact that if you turn mitochondria loose, if you feed mitochondria well, and you understand that if you have an opportunity to really make the mitochondria healthy, there's not anything healthy mitochondria can't have our cells do. And I'm a living testimony to that. And I've seen this in other people who had dementia and various other things where they were able to come back out of it for a period of time and be able to communicate, which I think turning mitochondria loose in that case, feeding them well, restored some family unity that had been lost because of some of the debilitating brain problems. And so I think that you have, you see, we found that there's over 10,000 mitochondria within every single neuron of the human brain. We have more mitochondria in our bodies than we have cells in our bodies, human cells. They serve us. They're in every living cell. So why would we not want to take the very best care and improve the quality of the mitochondria we have for traumatic brain injury, for TBIs, for stroke victims? Why do we just want to worry about the symptoms? Doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I'm curious, as far as a traumatic brain injury, do you think that increasing the mitochondria can help repair the damaged cells within the brain in that aspect?
Absolutely, absolutely I do, because a lot of these people, let's talk about who has that. Mostly our military people. Virtually 40% of the people that come back from active duty in the field in Iraq and Afghanistan have some form of traumatic brain injury. Some form of it. Maybe it's small. Some have debilitating effects. So if you could turn the mitochondria loose, having been properly fed, and frankly, they've been exposed to all kinds of chemicals and all kinds of materials in the military that are detrimental to mitochondria. If you could give the mitochondria the proper food it needs and the proper minerals, I think that you would see amazing recovery from TBI.
Interesting.
I know that I got a call one day from a former Vietnam vet who flat took the wind out of my sails because his opening comment was, "I heard you on the radio and I don't want to kill myself anymore." Have somebody say that to you out of the clear blue and see what you think. My gosh, I literally did not know really how to say that, to respond. So I said, well, that sounds really, really good. Could you talk to me about that? And the man told me that he'd brought home the demons with him from his service in Vietnam. He said he saw too much. So after a while of repairing his mitochondria with some of this material and getting off of all of the mind-altering drugs that had been given to him by the VA to try to calm him down, to be able to handle the horrors that he had seen, or that he actually participated in, which he was remorseful of, he was able to put his life back together. He said, the sun comes up every morning, it's beautiful. My grandkids are wonderful people. I'm so impressed with the life my son has. And he said, life is good. And he said, it's been 4 years since I've taken any of the mind-altering drugs that have been given to me for the last 35 years. So I was very pleased that the man could put his life back together. So I know it has an effect on brain health.
Interesting. Wow. So not just with stroke and TBIs, but also with psychological illnesses, you're suggesting?
It can as well. You see, if psychological, what does that mean? Okay, let's examine something. Oh, that person is a hypochondriac, and then they get sick, and it's all in their mind. How many times have you heard that? Oh, it's all in their head. Okay, well, let me tell you, why does the placebo work? It's all in their head. Yeah. But when you think a thought, your brain is producing that thought through electrochemistry. There's something chemistry actually going on in the brain. That triggers chemistry in the rest of the body. And if you strongly believe that you have a certain disease or you have certain maladies, you can manifest those conditions to where you really do have the pain. You may not have the condition, but if you believe it strong enough, you're going to be in pain. Well, the same is true with somebody who has, I will say, traumatic brain injury psychologically from the horrors they have participated in or that they have seen, the atrocities they've seen in war. So the chemicals in the brain are triggering massive changes in that person. This man that I spoke of was generating these massive negative chemicals, and if he hadn't stopped taking all of this stuff to suppress that and just get it out of his system and start healing his body, he may have been like one of my dearest friends who I had to bury because 3 years ago, he no longer could fight the demons that came home with him from Vietnam.
Wow. Amazing. Well, that's very insightful. I think it sounds like the mitochondria plays a huge role in all aspects of the brain when it comes to recovery as well as treatment in damaged cells, as well as psychology. So definitely sounds like a huge factor when it comes to repairing the brain and increasing your activity within the central nervous system.
Yeah.
So that's very insightful on that. Thank you very much.
I'm going to have to let it go at that. It's too close to home.
Well, we appreciate your time and your insight on that. It's very helpful, and we see your passion in helping, people as far as, individuals that have had and suffered from things of that nature. So we really appreciate that. I know I do personally. So, this has been a short video on how mitochondria is influencing with TBI as well as strokes as far as blood vessels and clots in the brain. And, we want you to leave any comments if you have any additional questions about that. Definitely subscribe, and we'll make sure that we keep on producing these videos. We definitely like doing it.
Every single day we produce a video.
And so, absolutely. So just keep us in mind, and there's more information coming. This is an exciting time because of a lot of the research that's going on in this area, and because of a lot of the research Dr. Peterman has done specifically. So stay tuned for more, and as we always say, be well.
Be well, and thank you.
Thank you.